Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. My name is Matthew Driscoll. I'm the Commissioner for the State Department of Transportation. It is great to be here in the Queen City and at Deauville College. Thank you for having us today. Before I begin, I'd like to recognize some of the special guests who are here with us this morning. Of course, I'm going to begin once again with our leader, Governor Andrew Cuomo, Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz, City of Buffalo Mayor Byron Brown, New York State Assembly Member Sean Ryan, Empire State Development President and CEO and hometown boy Howard Zemsky, from the City of Niagara Falls, Mayor Paul Deister, Mark Schroeder for the City of Buffalo Comptroller, John Flynn, Erie County District Attorney-elect, congratulations, Dr. William Mariani, Deauville College Interim President, Rocky Vaca, Buffalo, and Fort Erie Public Bridge Authority Vice Chair, and all of the members of the U.S. and Canadian Board. Let's give them all a big round of applause. So we're here this morning to celebrate really what is yet another milestone in New York State's mission, and really under the leadership of Governor Cuomo to build a better Buffalo. So we're here to talk about what's been completed, and of course, doing so, I'd like to at least take a step back, because I think it's important that we recognize the history that got us here to today. The Peace Bridge was opened back in 1927. That was really the height of the region's building back then. Lots went on, but none more important than this particular bridge. The Peace Bridge was aptly named, of course, and the name implies the Peace Bridge because it really celebrated about 100 years of peace and friendship between the United States and Canada. Since opening, the bridge has been an economic generator for both New York State, the United States, and Canada for decades. This is one of 4 bridge crossings in the region, and this particular bridge carries more than any other. Why? Because of its connections to the region's major arteries, everything north and south and east and west. Throughout the 80s and 90s, really gridlock was kind of the name of the game. The bridge became congested, prompting Buffalonians to believe the construction of another bridge was necessary. So there was lots of conversation, lots of chatter. Of course, ideas were discussed, lots of plans were devised, and after 20 years, nothing happened. Typical. But during the stagnation, one fact became clear, that the bridge was congested not because of the volumes of traffic, but rather because of its configuration. In part to ease the congestion, the Bridge Authority completed the Canadian Gateway Project back in 2007, featuring a widened plaza and toll booths moved from New York over to Canada. And meanwhile, here in New York had to deal with incoming traffic from Canada into the plaza. And in order to get to I90, trucks had to drive through city streets first. That doesn't sound like a great decision to me. Road cutting through historic Front Park, and a very outdated customs house as well for processing. And to further complicate it, basically the size of the New York facility is a fifth the size of Canadia's plaza. So it really created some congestion points here. When Governor Cuomo took office in 2011, he made it a priority, you all know that, to build a new economy here in Buffalo and in the western New York State. But this governor is different, and the genius of his plan is always to understand that economic development isn't always just about a new building or building something. It's about connections. And infrastructure really is the foundation for that. He's been laser focused on that, and as he promised, he committed to fixing the Peace Bridge. And because of that, this administration really is never about announcing plans. It's definitely about putting them into action and completing them. And that's what we're doing here today. In 2013, the governor broke through what you know was years of gridlock by negotiating a new international agreement that committed capital investments on and around the Peace Bridge. So jointly, we've spent about $225 million for these capital improvements. On the New York side, as you come in, we've built a new customs facility. And why? Because, as I talked about earlier, it was much smaller, very inefficient. This processes people and goods much faster, much more efficient, reducing wait times and cutting emissions too. widened the approach for US-bound trucks and users to exit the bridge earlier, again, reducing congestion entering the plaza. And the agreement also included a new gateway ramp and acquisition of the Episcopal Church home. To complement that action plan, the governor then launched another $56 million Peace Bridge Gateway project, really a holistic reconfiguration of the surrounding roads and parks. And today we're announcing the completion of the Peace Bridge Gateway project. So here's what we've done. We built a new connection ramp to carry traffic exiting that Peace Bridge Plaza to I90 northbound. No more trucks needing to drive through the city to get to I90. We also reconstructed the Porter Avenue Bridge, which now includes a 10-foot wide pedestrian lane to connect both Front and LaSalle Parks with walking paths as well, and making it a lot safer for people. We removed, yes, give that a big round of applause. It's not always just about cars and trucks. It's about people, too. We removed Bear Drive to restore 4 acres of parkland, aligning once again with the great Frederick Law Olmsted's original vision. And the removal of Bear Drive also paved the way for a construction of a new ramp carrying traffic from Porter Ave directly into the plaza area. And it allows us to construct a new roundabout, which really improves traffic flow, enhances safety, mobility, much more efficient than what was there before. But you all know that we live in a day and age when we always have to be thinking about safety and security. It's just the way it is. And of course, these global threats require greater security at all of our transit hubs, attractions, and our borders also. And that's what we're doing here as well. We're installing new security fencing along the southern border of the Peace Bridge Plaza and a state-of-the-art warning and messaging system along the entrance ramp too. And finally, now that the project's complete, the Shoreline Path Trail will soon open. It also will feature a new pedestrian bridge with really tremendous views of the lake and the river. You know, what I talked about earlier about getting it, understanding that economic development is about connections, it's about that foundation for the future, it's about making sure infrastructure is in place so you can grow a region, so you can make things happen. That's what this governor's been doing, whether it's at LaGuardia Airport, whether it's at the new Tappan Zee Bridge, and certainly right here in the reimagined Peace Bridge Plaza, right here in Buffalo. How about a round of applause? So I want to invite at this point to the microphone the County Executive, Mark Poloncarz.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you for the work that you do. A lot of you may not know the Commissioner is formerly the mayor of the city of Syracuse, so he understands the issues that we face in city and urban environments, and truthfully, transportation is a huge one, and that's why he's in the position he's in, and I want to thank you for the good work that you've done over the years and are doing with the Department of Transportation. Thank you to Duville College for opening your doors and the work that you do, training individuals for the jobs of tomorrow. We do have a tremendous education system here in Western New York, and Duville is one of the great success stories, so thank you, Duville. I heard we got some students from Da Vinci here. Is that the case? Yes. So thank you for being here today, and this is another example of the great work that we're doing together under the leadership of our governor to create a better community for all. We all know about the success stories and new businesses coming here. Why is this project so important? Because those new businesses that are coming here, while we also see the great success stories at the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus, we read about Solar City with now Tesla and Panasonic getting involved. We also have smaller companies. 2, in fact, were announced last week. 2 Canadian companies are opening up their United States operations here in Erie County. Small, not huge. We're not talking about hundreds of jobs immediately, but they're coming here because they see the economic renaissance that's going on in our community, and they know they want to succeed in the United States, and they can succeed here in Buffalo and Erie County. But they could be anywhere in the United States, and they're choosing here because of the advantages that we have. And to make those advantages as successful as they are, we need to continue to invest in infrastructure, in transportation, to ensure that flow of traffic between the United States and Canada continues, as it has in the past, but is even better. Why? I've been saying this for some time. When it comes to the United States trading partners, there is no larger one than Canada. And the vast majority of traffic that flows between the United States and Canada flows through Western New York, including the Peace Bridge. That's why we had to ensure that this project was successful, because otherwise we would hurt our own business climate here in Western New York, because the Canadians wouldn't have chose here. They would have chose somewhere else. They could have chose Michigan. They could choose the West Coast, choose Washington State. But they're choosing here because they understand that to succeed in the United States, they have to be at a place where they can transport their goods very easily, as well as get back and forth between their headquarters in Toronto and Oshawa and Ottawa and the United States. And they can do that here. And this project is emblematic of it, because this is a critical artery that transports traffic as well as people back and forth. We know what it was like 20 years ago. Well, maybe not the students at Da Vinci, but we know what it was like when you could hop on and you could go over and there wasn't much of issues with customs, there wasn't much issue with security. Well, everything changed on September 11th, and with it, we had to change as well. Because if we were to continue to succeed in a global environment, we had to have this happen. And I want to thank the governor for making it happen, because he did. It's as simple as that. There was too much acrimony for a long time between the U.S. and the Canadian officials. He, in 2013, made it happen, and that's why we're here today. So thank you, Governor Cuomo, for doing that. This is just another example of the great announcements that we have. And this announcement will continue to ensure the success of Buffalo, Erie County, and Western New York. Because by working together, we are creating a stronger community for all, a stronger economy, and people are coming back into this community because they want to be here. That is a success story that we're going to continue to talk about for decades to come. And it happens because we work together on the local level and the state level. I want to thank once again Governor Cuomo and his entire team for the great work that they've done to get to this day. And I also want to invite up to the stage someone that I work with almost every day on the issues that matter in this community, and to show that cooperation, just look at what's going on in the fire in the city of Lackawanna, because the city of Buffalo firefighters are there ensuring that that fire is put out, and more importantly, the residents of Lackawanna and other places are protected from the danger of that fire. It's my honor to introduce Mayor Byron Brown.
Thank you. Thank you very much, County Executive Mark Polenkars. Thank you for your effective work and your great partnership in government. The governor likes to call the county executive and I the Batman and Robin of government, and today we are both Batman. It's great to be here at DeUville College, one of the great institutions of higher learning in our community. A number of introductions have been made, but I want to just take a moment to introduce Niagara District Council Member David Rivera, the majority leader of the City Council and the council member for this area of the City of Buffalo. Now, as you heard, since 2011, Governor Cuomo has been incredibly focused on Buffalo and Western New York. He saw our potential, he knew what we were capable of, and now Buffalo and the greater Western New York region is thriving. Governor Cuomo reached out, invested in our city and region, and helped revitalize Buffalo, helping us further improve the infrastructure and attract younger generations to our city. The results can be seen all around us. The Outer Harbor, Canal Side, bustling colleges and universities, including DeUville College, and a thriving business community. Working together, Governor Cuomo is helping us contribute to push forward by bringing sustainable business models to the region and providing opportunities for innovation and growth. But without proper infrastructure, none of that can happen. The Peace Bridge is an essential international crossing that is a critical driver of the Buffalo economy, and the improvements that have been made over the past few years are symbolic of Buffalo's new get-it-done attitude and actually make a huge difference in getting people on and off the bridge in a faster, more efficient way. Today's announcement dramatically complements my administration's significant investments in roads and parks in this area, working with the City Council to enhance Buffalo's West Side. With our partnership with Governor Cuomo and several state agencies, the City of Buffalo is investing another more than $34 million on Niagara Street and parks and neighborhoods in this area. So let's give our governor another round of applause for that. I thank Governor Cuomo for our shared commitment to invest in what matters most to Buffalo. He has helped make Buffalo's renaissance a reality and brought back a sense of hope, opportunity, and optimism that continues to grow with every milestone that we reach in this community. As a result, we are moving the economy forward and generating opportunity and prosperity for all people. Now, please join me in welcoming a great friend and the greatest governor in the United States of America, Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. First, thank you to the UofL College for having us here today. Thank you for the hospitality and the courtesy and all the students who are here. It's good to see so many young faces. My comments today will be take into consideration the number of young faces, and I'll give you some of the editorial comments as we go through today. To the mayor and to the county executive and to Commissioner Matt Driscoll, who was the mayor of Syracuse. If you notice, county executive pointed that out because the mayors, county executives, local government, they are on the front lines and they actually have to get things done. What they don't say is those people at the state level or the federal level, they can be slow and bureaucratic, but the real things happen on the local level. And it's true. And in the county executive and in Mayor Brown, you have two phenomenal elected officials who make things happen. They get it done on time, they get it done right, and that is all the difference. Making government work. Government is not conceptual. It's not abstract. It's practical, it's real. Why are people frustrated? Because they're not seeing enough progress. Make progress. That's what the mayor and the county executive are doing. Give them a big round of applause. Commissioner Matt Driscoll, who actually did the work, let's give him a big round of applause. We have Mayor Deister, who is the same counterpart in Niagara Falls. He's doing great. Great to be with you, Mayor. Mark Schroeder, who's your controller, he was with me in Albany. He abandoned Albany to come be the controller. I know it's because he loved Buffalo and he wanted to get home. A little bit, I think he wanted to get away from me, but that's okay. He's doing a great job as controller, Mark Schroeder. DA-elect Flynn, congratulations. Good to be with you, sir. Let's give him a big round of applause. We also have, last but not least, Howard Zemsky. Do you know who Howard Zemsky is? Howard Zemsky is the head of economic development, but he's a very particular fellow. And he actually has 2 titles in the state, and he wants both titles always used. So, Commissioner of Economic Development and President of the Empire State Development Corporation, Howard Zemsky. Let me give him. Some people are like that, you know, people with titles, they want the title just the way it is. He has 2 titles. I was at an event with him last week. I didn't mention the 2 titles. Right away, I got this whole body language thing. You know who's like that? Don't tell him I said it. You know Assemblyman Joe Morelli from Rochester? He is also very title specific. His title is Assembly Majority Leader. I get all these titles jumbled up, so I got up at an event and I called him Deputy Majority Leader. 1 month, the man would not talk to me. 1 month. You would think I called him the devil. Howard Zemsky, the man with 2 titles, is working with the mayor and the county executive on phase 2 of the Buffalo Revitalization Plan. Let's call the Buffalo Billion Plan, the original plan 4 years ago, the first phase. And he's now working on the second phase, which is going to be submitted by mid-December. And if it's good, then we're going to work to fund it. So the second phase of the Buffalo Billion Plan. And the Buffalo Billion Plan is basically an urban development, community development plan. It was tough because the problems in Buffalo were so entrenched for so long. But that's what the plan is, and he's going to be redoing that plan. And today, there are 2 very important lessons that we learned going through this process, and which I'm sure are going to be reflected in that plan. Peace Bridge makes a very important point. Get it done. Get it done. You want to make progress? You want to get somewhere? Move your feet. That is the first step. That is step 1. Make a decision and act. Well, making a decision is hard. What happens if I don't make the right decision? If you don't make a decision, inaction is inaction. Inaction is inaction to stay exactly where you are. You think you're not deciding, so you're free from risk. No. You actually took a very big risk because you decided to make no decision. And therefore, you voted for the status quo and you are staying exactly where you are. Peace Bridge, discussed for 20 years. Think about it. It could be a bad joke, except it's real. 20 years. Should the bridge be blue? Should the bridge be red? I think it should have slopes. You don't know what you're talking about if you are a slope person. It should be in squares. Everybody knows it should be in squares. 20 years they debated it. And you know what they did? Nothing. Debate, 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 and they did absolutely nothing. They never made a decision. No, you did make a decision. You made a decision to do nothing for 20 years at a time when Buffalo desperately needed progress and the economy was going south. And, as you heard from the county executive and the mayor, and is exactly right, infrastructure is the building block of community development and urban development, and this was a bridge to your number 1 trading partner. This was the revenue source. This is the connection that had to work 20 years. And it became a metaphor for Buffalo. We'll argue about everything, we'll do nothing. We have opinions on everything, and we hold fast to our opinion. But we actually never decide, and we never move forward. Meanwhile, Canadian side of the bridge actually redeveloped their side of the bridge. They were finished in 2007. And it was magnificent, the Canadian side. But the Buffalo side stayed just like that. Well, sometimes you make a decision, there's controversy. So I get elected governor, and I'd been hearing about Peace Bridge forever. And I say it's time to do something. And now there's a little difference of opinion between Buffalo and Canada, which jointly manage the bridge. And the difference of opinion was now stopping Buffalo from doing anything. So this has gone on for many years. I engaged in a conversation with Canada. Notice how careful I am with the choice of words here. And the conversation at points became difficult. And then I was criticized by some. Governor is not being polite to Canada. Governor is causing trouble with Canada. How can the governor cause trouble with Canada over something called the Peace Bridge? Peace means peace, and he's not honoring the legacy of the Peace Bridge. Why doesn't he just be nice and leave Canada alone, and because peace is nice and we love peace? Yeah, but nothing was happening. Nothing was happening. Reminds me of the story of the man who prays every morning. You know the story of the man who prays every morning? A person moves to Jerusalem and is just getting set in Jerusalem, and he's watching the neighborhood, and he's in the inner area of Jerusalem, and he notices there's a man who comes every morning and prays at the Wailing Wall. And he watches this man for a few weeks, and one day he goes up to the old man, he taps him on the shoulder, and he says, "Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt, but I see every morning you come to the Wailing Wall." He says, "Yes, I come every morning to the Wailing Wall." He says, "What do you do?" "I pray for world peace, that nobody should have disease, and that nobody should die." He said, "Really, that's your prayer every morning?" He says, "Yes." He said, "How long have you been doing that?" 25 years. 25 years. You come, you make the prayer, world peace, no disease, no death. How do you feel? He says, "I feel like I'm talking to a wall." That's right. Yeah, we're going to rebuild the Peace Bridge. We were talking to a wall. Engage the conversation. Maybe it's a little difficult. You make a decision. That is the story of the Peace Bridge. And now $225 million from the Joint Authority, another approximately $60 million from the state. That comes together with tens of millions of dollars from the city and the county to do parks in the surrounding area. It is a totally different thoroughfare. Lesson one, make a decision, do it. Action matters, efficiency matters, professionalism matters. Don't skirt an issue because it's hard. Don't skirt an issue because you're going to be criticized. You don't want to be criticized? Stay in bed. Certainly don't go into politics. Certainly. But in politics, they elect you to lead, lead. And when you see and believe that's the right way to go, go even if you're going to be criticized. That's lesson one. Lesson two is an announcement that the man with two titles is going to do this afternoon, which is truly fascinating. The growth in jobs in today's economy is coming from what they call the innovation economy. You don't bring in manufacturers of goods that build things anymore the same way we did. It was one of the topics you heard in the last presidential debate, but it's true. We gave away a lot of the manufacturing jobs, and we're adapting our economy now. We haven't fully adapted it, and the transition is hurting people. But it's the innovation economy. It's bringing in new entrepreneurs, new startup businesses that grow out of academia and then become commercialized. And the places that do it best in the nation are the places that cluster a specialized economy, and then there is a synergy of those businesses in that economy. Like what? Like Silicon Valley, which organically developed around universities, but it became the place to be if you want to be in the tech industry, et cetera, Silicon Valley. Before Silicon Valley was the Research Triangle in North Carolina. And it developed on its own, almost, as the place to be if you were in that business. Those are the economies that are developing around the country now. Specialized cluster economies. In Buffalo, we are developing a medical research commercialization cluster economy, and it is now building on itself. That Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus, more startup ventures than any place in the state of New York. Birthing from the facility, the university, but then taking those ideas they birthed and commercializing them into businesses on the same grounds. The part of the Buffalo Billion Plan was to run a competition called 43 North, which brought all these entrepreneurs to Buffalo. One of them was a company called Circuit Clinical. They came to compete in 43 North. They didn't even win the competition, but they saw Buffalo and they liked it so much and they were so intrigued by this innovation economy that they stayed. They formed a startup company. Today, another startup venture, a genome center, is going to invest in them, create 100 jobs. That is how the economy is working today. And Buffalo, which was all about the economy of yesterday, is now about the economy of tomorrow. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. The next phase has to build on those principles. Get it done, take a risk, don't be afraid to make a decision. Your future is in the innovation economy, the jobs of tomorrow coming out of research facilities and academic facilities like the superb ones we have right here in Buffalo. Those are not just two important lessons for community development and planning. They also work pretty well in life. First lesson, you have a dream, you have a vision, do it. Do it. Have the confidence to pursue it. Second point, educate yourself. This is a specialized economy. You're not going to make it without having the skills and an education. It's not an economy that you can work your way to the top. You have to think your way to the top. God bless you. Thank you for having us.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us today and for giving us this opportunity. New York State leading the way again. Please give Governor Cuomo one more big round of applause for leading the way. Thank you very much. Have a great day.